Is it time to go full-time?
Or not? That is the question.
We're going to try to answer that in this video. Stick around.
All right, so...
Hey, welcome back to the Happy Place Diaries.
Welcome back to the Happy Place Diaries. I'm Teresa, and...
I'm Jerry, and in this video we're going to talk about a topic that if you follow the RV community on YouTube, you would think that everybody's going full-time. And we have been talking about going full-time. Here's where we are.
So...
Or not.
Or not. So, I brought the question up because I thought when Jerry said he wants to go full-timing, that meant that we were either going to sell the house or get someone to rent the house. And he talked about having a home base just down the street, so then when we did come back, we would stay there. So I got my little pad and pen out, made my list. That's right, Jen, I made my list. And the pros and cons.
So let's dive into this. Rather than beat around the bush, the jury's out. But here is kind of the things that drove our discussion about whether we were going to go full-time or not. So the first thing that we'll just throw out on the table, because we're not going to get into it, is the financial part. Financially, we could totally handle going full-time. Financially, there's so many variables that affect you individually that you really have to weigh out, how do you handle your health care? How do you handle your month-to-month bills? In my opinion, or in our opinion, you shouldn't go into this with a whole bunch of bills, because you really need to be able to financially make it throughout your experience as a full-timer. So like I said, we're not going to dive deep into financial. Needless to say, it's not a factor when it comes to us either going full-time or not going full-time. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. The next thing, and what I think we should do, is just throw out kind of the things that we had discussed and go pro and con.
Okay.
Okay, so family.
So I'm having a hard time with leaving the kids and my family and my friends. I want to go travel a lot, but my friends and my family are very important, and I can't see myself being away for more than 2 or 3 months, and then I'd have to come back. Because with Levi and now Nolan, and he's going to start doing all the first things for him, and I kind of want to be here to see that because I was here for Levi.
So the pro and con is a little bit of family goes a long way sometimes. So getting away would be, I think getting away would provide some growth opportunities for our kids. So I think that would be a pro. The other pro would be that we do have family to come back to.
Correct.
Now the cons are, like you stated, leaving our family and friends is really tough at this point. But the grandkids really are
the top priority.
The factor. We've spent the lifetime with our kids.
Right.
And they're adults, and they have jobs, they have careers, they have houses, they have relationships, they have all of that. So if we went away,
right,
with the understanding that we come back for significant events and whatnot, that could be a pro. But it's also the con.
The con, because Levi's been, so blessed to have you since before day one when he was born. That's something that I'd like Nolan to have too. That's
a hard cord to cut. I don't want to miss, those significant events. Again, birthdays, it happens every year. But, I want to be there for, that
crawling and walking and talking and
the first strikeout, the whatever, So that's a con in our book. And that, I think, is probably the most significant hurdle that we need to get over
Right.
in this discussion. Okay, well, thanks for coming along now. We'll see you next time.
No, just,
Really, I think that is the most significant hurdle that we need
right.
need
Because
to overcome.
Another pro is that
Because we have the ability, we wouldn't necessarily have to give up the house.
correct.
And that kind of goes with like our current travel plans and kind of our pace of RVing right now being, I wouldn't consider ourselves part-timers because we spend a lot of time. According to our dealer, we use our trailer at an abnormal rate. So,
That's good.
yeah, we like it. So we do have a contingency where we wouldn't necessarily have to give up the house. One of our kids could move into the house. Pros and cons about that is that we wouldn't have to give up the house, and we do have a place to always park and use a home as a home base. The con that I shared the other night when we were talking about this was I don't know that I necessarily want to back in and stay in the trailer when I've got my house right next door.
Right, and maybe we wouldn't have to. Maybe we could make one of the other bedrooms a spare bedroom for us.
Or something.
Yeah, I mean,
it's definitely a discussion
right.
that in both of our opinion would be a pro because we wouldn't have to give up the house. We would maintain the equity. We would maintain a home base in case we got on the road and really just didn't like it.
Right.
You know, I mean, what is the bump plan, as it were? So, okay, so now let's talk about travel because that's a good segue.
Right, because we could just get up and go and say, oh, hey, we're going to Missouri. Well, let's go. Or, you know what? I want to go to Kentucky. I've never been to Kentucky. All right, well, let's take a month or two and we can just take our time out there. We're not in a hurry, you know.
So the pros and cons. The pros are that we could just get up and go if we wanted to. The con is I struggle with the idea of not being on vacation and actually knowing that we're living in this, which begs the question, where do we go? You know, for the first 6 months or so, we could easily put pins on a map that says, hey, we want to go visit friends. We want to go see significant places that we've never seen or been to or whatever. But then what do you do after that? You know, and with talking with some of our friends about this that are full-time, you know, it comes down to there's no way that you could see America in a year. There's just, and really see America and make it financially feasible, you know, because you can't do a couple days here, a couple days there. To make it financially, you need to, a week, 2 weeks, whatever.
Month, yeah.
I'm terrible at just, even though we have the ability to, I'm terrible at just saying, hook up the truck, we're leaving. You know, I need to have a plan. I need to know where we're going, where we're staying, how long we're going to be there.
How long it's going to take to get there.
Who we're going to see. And then, of course, the proverbial plan B, just in case everything goes to crap. So what I struggle with is the idea that if this is our full-time life, I don't want it to be a full-time... Well, I do. I want it to be a full-time vacation, but I know that you can't do that in the long haul. At some point, you need to settle into that rhythm and that routine and know that you're living this lifestyle, not just vacationing this lifestyle. Because we got that part down.
Right. We know how to do that very well.
Right.
We just don't know how to do the other thing.
So that covers travel, and that covers kind of the vacation mindset that I would struggle with. And again, there's pluses and minuses there. So we definitely have the ability to just hook up and go if we want to. I continue to struggle with the where do we go and how long do we stay there? What is our goals? We haven't really sat down and said, you know, we have goals of seeing this and that. That's the easy part, I think.
Oh, yeah.
That is definitely the easy part. We want to spend a season in New England.
Oh,
we would love to spend the fall in New England. I don't want to spend the winter in New England. I would much rather spend the winter in Alabama but definitely not in northern climates. Those are discussions that definitely have pluses and minuses of what the travel looks like, what the vacation period looks like. So the question is, are we going full time?
Not right now.
Not right now. Full time is extremely appealing. I love the idea. And here's the three things that I love. I love the idea of not necessarily living small, but living with the stuff that you need. Right? I mean, we have a garage full of crap that we don't need.
We won't be taking any of it with us.
Right. So I love the idea that once you hook up, you are completely
ready to go.
Self-contained. The fact that we can literally hook up the trailer and drive away from our house right this second. And the same thing, we don't need a whole lot of stuff. When I look around this living space and this little kitchen, that's really all we need. And so I love that idea. That's number one. Number two, I love the idea of the freedom that we could basically just go and go where we want to go. And you know what? If something's closed, we go somewhere else. If the weather's bad, we can go somewhere else. Because of my military career and because of family and whatnot, we have enough friends and family scattered across the country that we could put pins on a map and have the freedom to go pay them a visit. Now, whether they want us to come or not, that's another story.
And
but
how long they want us to stay.
Right. So then we'll really find out who our friends are. And then the last thing that I really enjoy about this discussion is the community that's out there. I talk with friends that are full-timers. I watch the videos, and it's so fun to watch people connect and build those friendships and relationships, and then they bump into each other at different places as they're crossing the country. I really love that idea. So here's the plan. The plan is we are taking an extended trip this summer. And we're going to test some of these ideas and some of these concerns that we have. So we're going to go on vacation, but we're going to try to treat it like we're full-time.
Right.
And we're going to see how all of this works. We're going to see how the relationships work with family back here.
How our parents are going to fare.
Hey, you're right.
With my parents getting much older and their health is not as good as Jerry's parents. So,
and Teresa's dad's in assisted living, and so there's extra layers to the onion that definitely need to be peeled before we can make that final decision. And then in late August, we will sit down and we'll make our list of how it went and the pros and the cons. And then we'll really sit down and pencil it out.
Yeah, we'll have to get a notebook just specific for that, and hopefully you guys can give us some advice. Pros and cons would be great.
Yeah, so if you're a full-timer, what are some of the pros and cons? If you're a part-timer or most-timer like us, what are some of your concerns, if you're even entertaining the idea?
Right.
What would some of your concerns be? Please leave them down in the comment section, because we would really love to know.
And it may be something that we hadn't even thought of. So.
Right. Yeah, we're really excited to be having this discussion. And I have to be honest, I was really surprised when Teresa here was the one that brought it up the other night about going, and then was shocked when
he said, well, I'm not ready to go full-timing. I'm like, excuse me, you're the one that's been saying, well, there's a place down by, a couple miles away that we could have a home base.
Yeah, we've been having that discussion, but I've never really said.
Yeah, well,
let's go full time. Hook up the trailer, baby. Fill up the propane. We're out of here.
So the next 4 or 5 months will hopefully give us some direction on where we want to go.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited to see.
Right. So with that, please, if you found any value in this, if you're interested at all in following this little journey, this chapter, smash that thumbs up button. We really appreciate that. Certainly leave us a comment, because we want to know what you all think about this idea. If it's absolutely crazy, just tell us we're nuts. It's okay. We have thick skins. And Teresa has a thicker skin than I do. I'm very sensitive.
Subscribe.
Yeah. And share it with a friend. As always, remember that
A happy life
starts in a happy place.
And
We found ours. And we're motivating you to get the most out of your RV, whether that's full-time or part-time. Let us know what you think. And we appreciate each and every one of you for coming along and sticking around.
See you next
We'll see
time.
you in the next video.
See you next time.
Bye. Okay. Oh, please tell me that was recording.